Until next time, I'm Jonah. May you be blessed.
Hey.
You want to help with the chairs?
Can you help him with the chairs? Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you got to hold it in?
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you.
Woo!
I also want to dedicate tonight, I wanted to say beforehand, Father Chris Bonnet here had just passed about 9 days ago very suddenly.
Oh, no.
And he was a huge advocate for what we were doing, and we're so grateful and blessed that he got to spend time with us and we get to shepherd some of what he has really believed in. So I just wanted to share that. I want to bring up some wonderful people, so I'm just going to do some intros here. The Reverend Frank Dunn was ordained as an Episcopal priest at the age of 26, and before retiring served parishes in North Carolina, Connecticut, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. In 2014, he founded Jonathan's Circle, a nonprofit organization whose mission is to make safe spaces where adult men can integrate their spiritual and sexual lives, whatever shape those two things assume in their experience. And he was the executive director until retiring at the end of 2024. Please come up.
Yay, Frank.
Pastor Rick Tubb is the lead pastor at the Desert Oasis Chapel in Palm Springs, serving the LGBTQ community since 2003, and lives in Ranch Lodge with his partner Dennis of 33 years. And I also want to introduce Rabbi Mark Blazer, who's been a rabbi for 27 years at the Temple Beth Ami in Santa Clarita, California. He is the president of Jewish Life Foundation, which funds the creation of Jewish-themed cultural and educational programs that are broadcast on Jewish Life Television Network, and is one of our fiscal sponsors for this evening. Come on up. Thank you. Here, please.
Tell him we're short one mic.
Okay, I'm just gonna ask them each of you a quick question more so, but I do want to open it up to all of you. It's really important to get a sense of how this affected you, what you thought, and your feedback is really welcome. I also want to just give thanks to Brandon Lim, who was one of the people in the show who's here with us today with his mother, and we also have our editor, Danny O'Brien, is here with us too. Thank you. Reverend Frank, let's start with you. If you can just, talk about, as we're talking about religious trauma, can you share a little bit more about what Jonathan's Circle does and the results that you've seen from it?
Thank you so much. Yes, Jonathan's Circle, I found it basically out of my own experience. I grew up Christian, fortunately, in a Methodist church in my youth, and later on in other churches in my college years and so on, that never, ever belched out the toxicity that unfortunately generations after me have followed. Now, there were a lot of concerns about sex, but I didn't have that. But all my life, which included marriage to a woman and two wonderful children that came out of that marriage, I struggled with, frankly, not so much the combination of sexual thoughts and spiritual thoughts, but how to live authentically. I found myself in midlife, in my 40s, particularly, encouraging other people to live into their truth, and I wasn't doing it myself, and this just bore on me in a heavy kind of way. It was after that when I began to realize that my career was about to wind up in parish ministry, that I began to ask the question, well, how am I present to people who, like me, are in love with God, and also who have struggles around sexuality. By that time, I had begun to come to terms with the fact that my wife and I had entered into a struggle to find out how we could be authentic together and not split apart. And finally, after 5 years, figured that's not going to work. And it was really, I think the core thing was really about how to be authentic. And so in conversations with people that I knew well, out of it came the idea, why don't you form an organization that will be a context in which you can work. And out of that came a decision to say, I really can't do the entire waterfront, but I can do something with men, and I don't care how they identify themselves, whether they're straight, gay, bi, fluid, queer, or questioning or whatever. I know something about what struggles are involved in being a male in this culture, and so that's what Jonathan Circle, I think, specializes in. It's really, it's not, we don't check to say, I'm no longer directing it, but I can say we don't check to find out what someone identifies as. If you show up and you identify as a man, whether that's cis or gay or bi or trans, it doesn't really matter. If you have a spiritual life, we assume that you do, because if you're human, you do. And you may or may not find a religion as a way to formulate that, but making a safe space is what Jonathan Circle does for people to integrate those two parts of ourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pastor Rick, what does it mean to you to openly lead an LGBTQ community?
I find it an honor and a blessing, and I do it with great joy. When I was going through Bible college in Joplin, Missouri, it was very evident that if you were gay, you were not welcome. And so I suppressed that. I did not have any gay friends. I did not want to be associated with the gays. I would look at other guys and see what shoes they were wearing, and that's what I would wear. What pants they were wearing, that's what I would wear, so that I would blend in. I even married my best friend, Patty, and we were married for 6 years, and I started drinking heavily. And one day, Patty noticed that the only way that we could have sexual relations is if I got drunk. And she said, "You can't drink this time." And that was the beginning of the end of our marriage. And I went into therapy at a country club rehab facility in Corona. And during the very first session with the very first therapist, it's a 6-week stay, she said, "I know what your problem is." And I said, "Well, how on earth could you know that? It takes years to find out what someone's problem is." She said, "You're gay." And it felt like someone took a baseball bat and hit me in the head. I was so horrified and so upset. And she said, "Rick, you are going to kill yourself if you continue on this path. You need to tell your family you're gay. You need to tell your wife you're gay. And you need to tell your friends you're gay." The problem with all that, and ours ended in divorce, she said, "Well, I can stay with you as long as you can promise you'll never look at another man." And I said, "Patty, I don't think I can promise that." So we got a divorce. Now there's 2 things against me. In the Christian Church, Church of Christ, non-denominational, not only can you not be gay, but you can't be divorced. And so either one disqualifies you. I realized that after 5 years of college and a lifetime of loving God and being told in Sunday school that God loved me, it was all over. And I did not know there was such a thing as a church that would accept gays and lesbians. I didn't know that existed. And so I thought my life was over as far as my career, all that stuff. And then I found out that there were gay churches, and I started going to them. And when I moved here, I had no intention of working in the church. I moved here with my partner who was retiring. We were both going to retire. And before I knew it, the church I was going to, Desert Oasis Chapel, asked me to be on their leadership team, which is what they call their board. And I thought, here we go again. God always put me in leadership positions even when I didn't want them or seek them. Then the associate pastor decided to go start a new church, and they asked me to be the associate pastor. And I said, here we go again. Then the pastor retired and passed away. And you could say by default, I became the lead pastor. And so in this town, in Palm Springs, it is a bubble. And if you go outside of Palm Springs, it is not this way. When I visit my family in Arizona, it is not this way. And so I find it a privilege to be able to be a pastor and be able to share the Word of God and Jesus Christ with gays and lesbians. And it is an honor, and it is not lost on me that that is very unique. That doesn't happen all over the world or all over this United States. And so I'm still just as surprised as anyone when my name is mentioned and they say Pastor Rick Tutt. It surprises me every time. So I'm blessed to be in this town. Thank you.
Thank you. Rabbi Blazer, as an ally, what does it mean, or why is it important, why do you feel it was important for the Jewish Life Foundation to support a show like Love and Faith?
So, partly out of a couple of years ago when my father passed away and I took on leadership, I knew that we had to, that the foundation and the network needed to continue to find ways of connecting with the community and to really kind of explore some of the stories that haven't been told within the Jewish community and within the greater world. And it goes back to some extent to my earliest experiences. When I was in rabbinical school in New York 31 years ago, my mentor was one of the first rabbis who was openly gay and who had really done a lot of great work already in kind of breaking down some of the barriers within the Jewish community. And he was my mentor. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago. And he moved to California, ironically, not long after I came to New York. And one of the things that I inherited from him was his job as the chaplain for Jewish Board of Family Children's Services in downtown Brooklyn. Was an AIDS-Day treatment program. And this was 1994. And for the most part, this was not living with AIDS. This was being with people who were dying. And my main job really there was to help facilitate events and programs at the day program. But really, my main job was to be with people, and very few of the people that were served by the program in Brooklyn at the time were Jewish. And I spent a lot of time with people of other faiths. In their hospital rooms at the end of their lives, and there was no one there. And so for me, I realized that if spirituality, if religion, if our faith was worth anything, it can't be for people to be alone, especially at the end. And so it changed my life. I mean, I really thought if spirituality, if my career is going to be worth anything, it's going to be made to make sure that this doesn't happen. And so obviously this program and the education and the inspiration that it provides for people will hopefully find ways to make people not be alone. And so what everybody saw here today and what Father Chris put so beautifully was telling stories. And every person has a story to tell. We can kind of say it's their Torah. And those stories need to be told. And I think everybody saw the courage, and it's so wonderful to have a hero of that here with us today, to tell those stories and to hopefully inspire others through those stories, because that's the way things change, is through people having those stories. And so we're hoping that literally now through JLTV and being in 100 million homes, the network now, that there'll be people all around the world. And there are a lot of people, only about 30% of our audience is actually Jewish. So there are a lot of people that are going to be watching this. And I think it's, especially with the nature of our audience, it's going to really, I think it has the potential to really open up, unlock some hearts, and to facilitate real change. So, at the end of the day, this is about making people feel not alone. And I just want to say right now, there's also another hero who's here today, one of my great friends and great supporters of the network, who's here with her family, is Janet Waljubas, who's in the back there. And Janet is one of those donors who's made the program that we do at Jewish Life possible. And it's really, the network is a commercial network, but we can't do programming without people like her and people like you. And so these kind of programs don't get made unless people step up, because unfortunately, Jonah has worked so hard, and he is really, of course, the hero of this today. But there are not sponsors, commercial sponsors for the show. Trust me, he worked really hard to try to find commercial sponsors for this. But for a lot of reasons, unfortunately, I think some of them are more political now than anything. And that's a whole nother story that I don't want to get into today. But unfortunately, this is a tough time because of the intersectionality between the Jewish community and to some extent the queer community. There's a lot of reasons why this is so important, and thank you everybody for being here today to celebrate these stories and to make this possible.
Thank you so much.
Yay.
Such a powerful conversation. There's this really fascinating statistic that the number of television projects featuring the queer community was reduced by 50% just this year. So this series emerges as a critical cultural moment for us. But now I really want to bring it out to you all. And if there's a comment, a thought, a question, even for anyone here on the dais, please, would love to hear. Yeah.
I would love to hear from the mother who has come with one of the persons on your...
Brandon's mom. Yeah. Would you like to share?
What would you like to ask me?
I am just thankful you're here.
Oh. God made us all, so we're all beautiful. And him being gay is like him being Chinese. That's the way he is.
Yeah, you in the back.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. That was terrific. I just want to know availability. Where can we watch it? I'm not even clear on where it is.
Yes, so right now we are in the process of, again, closing the funds to do 10 episodes, where each episode would be a different religion. And in partnership with Jewish Life Foundation is the Jewish Life Television Network, which is a cable television network accessible across the country. It's also free on CTV, so if you have a Roku, you can watch it for free in that way. They reach over 100 million households, get about 6 million people every month watch it. Comcast, DirecTV, Xfinity. What we're hoping is that we can finish raising the funds so that we can shoot in Q1 and premiere the whole season starting for Pride in 2026. That is the goal. That's the prayer. But it will be accessible, it'll be free, but it'll also be on that network. Also, the network is really excited about it and has shared that if there's a possibility before airing it, that they can sell it to even Netflix or a larger network that looking for partnerships in that way. They're totally open to that.
Just a follow-up?
Yeah.
Is it on YouTube also?
Nope. Right now, again, it would only be starting on Jewish Life Television Network. Yeah.
So it's a really interesting question. So we're on JLTV is on Amazon. It's on Cox. It's on Charter. It's on all the cable systems on DirecTV. Channel 360, 325 on Direct. That was our first. That was 20 years ago. We were DirecTV was our first. Made us a 24/7 network. But interestingly, YouTube TV has no religious channels at all. So we've kind of argued that we're a cultural channel. They have kind of a family channel, but they do not have any religious channels. So I don't think that they want to open that up. And again, we're much more of a cultural channel, but a show like this and some of the other programming we have is definitely faith-based. So I don't know. I mean, hoping at some point YouTube TV does open up to religious channels, but yeah, they're not going to put us on without having a myriad of Christian offerings too, which would be great if they do, but they don't. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hi, Jonah. Thank you so much for doing this and letting us all share what you created space for. I work in the faith and sexuality spectrum as well, and so I'm always captivated by these stories. And I'm so inspired and grateful that these three guests, that they reconciled with what they've been through in the journey to where they are now. But and I know you've not shot episodes yet, but are you planning to also interview guests who are in the rage section of their reconciliation, or they've come out on the other end and decided that they don't want to participate with the faith, they just know a lot about it? Like, what's your goal in I guess, capturing where everybody is in their journey?
You know, in casting this, there were so many stories, and obviously I think that's what's so exciting about even the longevity for a series like this, is that there are so many different ways that people have held. We want to do episodes where people started off in one religion and ended up in another. So we're looking at that. So much of this, for me, is really trying to find the connective tissue for people that are queer, so that they can have some kind of connection to their spirituality. So liking that they end somewhere or are currently in some place that connects to their spirituality. But so, you know, we're open in that. And format-wise, we're also looking at not just each religion being different for an episode, but we're looking at having a celebrity episode and also a Trailblazers episode with clergy that have really, you know, paved the way. So it's not about but it is about, you know, the kid who's looking online and looking for the story, or the parent that is looking to find out more information about what they can do about their child and their religion. And so we want to keep it sort of in the family, and so stopping at the rage place isn't really of interest, but where they may have evolved to since. Yeah.
I'm also very grateful to be here and really, really appreciated the program and you and the presenters here, the panel. One question I have: have you considered doing an episode, say, in Spanish or in Chinese or Vietnamese or Tagalog or something? We're in such a period of division that it seems like presenting in another language and providing subtitles like streaming services do could bring lots more communities together in this division period. And even right here in the Valley, I watch KESQ or Palm Springs, NBC Palm Springs in English, and I watch Motivalle in Spanish, and it's like we're living in different worlds right here in the Coachella Valley by looking at those two newscasts. So I'm wondering, with something like this that's just so critical to unifying our community under such attack, that bringing in different additional languages could reach even greater community, other communities.
You know, may we be blessed to be able to do that. And I feel like it's step by step at this stage, being able to at least get these stories out, and if they can be captioned as well in other. But you know, Drag Race is in a lot of different religions, in languages. And who knows? I mean, again, it's a matter of kind of sparking this conversation. Would love to have that opportunity. Right now, we're just trying to get to this place. So, yeah, Jason.
You just made me think the acceptance of one's parents, no matter if you're the ages of the people that were on the show or our ages or the ages that we're telling people because we don't tell the truth. Is an interesting. Have you ever thought of doing a show bringing on the parents?
Parents, yeah.
Yeah, and each person bringing on a parent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, there's a lot of iterations, and right now, you know, this as a format with, we're filling, and again, thank you for seeing this again, proof of concept. You know, on TV, it's a little bit easier to watch these images. There's, you know, on a screen, on a theatrical screen, it's different, obviously. So thank you for your patience in that. Yeah, right now, again, there are a lot of different ways that we could share these stories, and from what the team has, and having this type of format, and doing some out of the people on the street, as well as just kind of staying within a religion for each episode. Again, I feel like this is the starting process, and hopefully there's many different levels of iteration, but right now, this is sort of the core. We feel like, let's get to our stories, let's hear from us, so that people can know that we exist celebrating their faith as well. Yeah.
I guess I'll just share. I was raised Catholic, so I was listening, hearing so many familiar things. But I guess throughout my life, I'm 45, and throughout my life, I do not keep faith, and so for me to experience this and to see so much love and to hear so much acceptance and connectivity, I guess I'll just say I appreciate, as maybe an outsider to these conversations typically, I really appreciate that you're bringing this and the LGBTQIA plus community and the faith, and I appreciate you're bringing it all together, because for me, as a queer person, I don't necessarily keep this as a conversation in my life, but I really appreciate, like, I was invited tonight, I'm so thankful to be here, like so many, but I'm appreciating that this is sort of like, it's opening my eyes a little bit to see that there's more than just what my straight family gave me when I was 10. That's a short version of that story, but yeah. So thank you for maybe offering somebody who wouldn't typically lean into this, giving this a place for somebody to kind of reach in and feel like they're connectable. So thank you.
Thank you. Just to share too, I grew up a secular Jew, Reform. I didn't feel like I had a lot of stigma, but I always had a lot of curiosity about people's beliefs, and I spent time in different religions, and appreciated the universality of that. And I just felt like there's really something so powerful that religion is a language for most of this planet, and our community exists in this planet, on this planet. And how can we just talk into that and at least see if there's a way to actually start that? Thank you.
The pastor in the middle, your name again?
My name is Rick Tux.
Rick.
Yes.
I had a question. Okay. About where you have your parish, you said. It's all LGBTQ, or it welcomes a majority? You welcome LGBTQ in addition to everyone else? I'm just curious about that, because what we saw tonight, or future episodes, if it is, you should plan something with Jonah to, keep the vibe going, if that's the exclusiveness of that, and it's okay to do that. That's what I was thinking.
So Desert Oasis Chapel was founded in 2003 because there were so few places that gays could worship.
Okay.
And at that time. And so we say that we are not a gay church. We don't worship gay. We're a Christian church, Christ-centered and Bible-based, but we minister to the gay and lesbian community. I would say that 98% of our congregation is gay and lesbian, whereas we do have some awesome straight people who just love coming to our church because they're tired of hearing anti-gay stuff at their church.
Yeah.
And so, and we love and adore them. But yeah, it's primarily gay and lesbian and transgender.
So this is wonderful to keep this going in churches that apply. That was my point, that, you know, because obviously if it's a conservative place, you know, you have to gather that ratio of people together for special talk back or, you know, a different episode. That was just something I was curious, and so thank you for answering that.
And I would not at all mind or be opposed to, or I would encourage that if when you do an episode on Christianity or Protestant Christianity, I would like to show that at our church. I think that'd be great. And actually, you're right, showing these in churches
Yes.
would also build the excitement and knowledge of this program.
We've got a bunch of different pastors and reverends that are here, and this is about community building and making you aware that this conversation is happening. And as we step into casting, to be able to reach out to your communities and yourselves, getting your support is a big part of this too. Yeah.
Thank you guys for being here and doing this. My name's Amanda, and I was just thinking, when you're doing these episodes, what about either talking about resources with the guests, either some things that help them, or things that someone who's watching this is like, oh my God, God loves me, where do I go next? But if they're not in a supportive place, if they can go talk to their parents, giving resources for them to move forward in their career.
That's why we want community partners. We want to be able to have at the end, go to this website, here are some communities, and offer that support. We don't have this in this, we didn't even have a credit roll in this, anything like that, but we absolutely do want to be able to provide, and let it be something that's even on the website for the network, so that there are resources and we can really highlight that. Thank you. That's a great point. Yeah.
My name is Roger. I have worked in the film business since 1979, about 1,500 films for the studios and independently. And I've done a lot of test screenings. Normally we hand out a survey card and we rate the film. Excellent, very good, good, fair, or poor, 5 points. And that's for all types of films all over the world. And I would give this an excellent. And we ask a recommendation question, which is definitely recommended, probably not, or definitely not. And I would definitely recommend this TV show. So,
Thank you.
Awesome.
So great. Any other questions? Well, we're also, did you have some? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Danny. It's interesting.
Some of the audience.
I guess I've lived my life in a bubble, very sort of safe place. And I had hoped that this wouldn't happen anymore, that there wouldn't be kids now growing up going through this internal torture. And obviously here it is, and I think that's part of not being aware of another part of this world politically that we're affiliated with, and their parents are probably on a different political kind of a side. I don't know. And I think we have made a difference, but then, they're thinking now of conversion therapy coming back. And that's just again, another way to torture children.
I don't know if you can hear him, but he's saying that they're thinking about legalizing conversion therapy. Yeah.
My very first meeting of going to conversion therapy, I was asked out by someone. And I said, aren't we supposed to not be gay? Aren't we here to not be gay? And he said, I just come here because the gays here are so vulnerable and fragile. They're easy to go out with.
Terrible.
So maybe shows like this can open it up and have more of a conversation, and it's not about the conversion therapy, but inclusion in other ways, right?
Right.
Well, if that's it for now, thank you so much for your feedback. We're going to go outside. There's going to be some wonderful homemade cookies that were made for us, and please feel free to have some more drink and talk and be in the reception area with us. And just so appreciate you all being here. And again, this is something that we are at the tail end of completing these funds. If you feel moved or you know of someone that you think can really help donate or again invest even in this show, please come up to me. And just thank you so much. I'm also going to probably email you for those of you that actually emailed via any response there. So everyone.
Thanks.
And thank you, Frank and Joe, for the cookies.
Frank and David.
Frank and David.
There's a Frank and Joe and a Frank and David. Thank you guys so much.
Participating.
Yes. And we'll